Jackman Thomas Harlow, or more commonly known as Jack Harlow, has popped onto the global music scene and is now one of the world's biggest rap stars. He is currently the 5th biggest rapper in the world. This is looking at the amount of monthly listeners on Spotify. He's even outpacing rap giants such as Eminem and Kanye West. Quite an overnight success story for such a young 24-year-old from Louisville, Kentucky. But was it overnight? And how did Jack manage to take the rap world by storm? Now, being a curious person myself, I decided to do some digging, and I found 3 possibilities that helped Jack Harlow blow up. Now, I'm not saying these are the 3 ways that made him blow up, but I definitely think these 3 things that he did hasn't hurt him. Let's talk about number 1. Let's look past all the awards, the fancy diamonds, and talk about the non-sexy stuff. Things like playing to empty venues, hustling while working at a cafeteria, or sleeping in a van because you can't afford hotel rooms. These are all things that Jack's actually done, but when you become famous, nobody sees this stuff, right? For example, let's just take a look at Jack's discography. You can see that he's released 5 albums and over 10 singles before reaching a significant successful break. If you're an artist trying to make it, how much music have you released? Were you hoping to become famous after your first single, maybe your second one? I guess now's the time to think again. So I guess you could say he's been paving the road for a long time before anyone else has showed up. And he had the hours clocked in and the skill set that was ready for someone to break. He's quite literally made his own luck, because luck does come into play into everything, especially in the music industry, being at the right place at the right time. And this essentially did happen to Jack. He happened to release his single, What's Poppin', at what seemed to be the climax of the 2020 COVID pandemic, where everyone and their grandmother happened to be locked in their houses scrolling through TikTok. It's at this time his single, What's Poppin', quite literally caught internet fire and made Jack an overnight success. Although it wasn't overnight, right? Because he had built that prior work that has helped him break and get to that point, essentially making his own luck, which I think over the long run will help him sustain a longer career versus other artists that break without any prior work ethic. They just go viral. It would be interesting to see how long those type of artists can sustain a career versus artists like Jack who have built that prior work experience. Look at yourself, look at your own music career. How much practice have you done so far? How much work have you put in? Because it can take years before someone notices, and it should. Let's look at number 2 now. Now, although rap isn't my first genre of choice, maybe I'm not even the best person to be critiquing rap music, I can objectively say, though, being a producer and a musician, that the quality of Jack Harlow 2016 versus the quality of Jack Harlow 2020 has improved over time. Just take a listen to early Jack Harlow production, rap cadence, quality of rhymes versus the 2020 Jack Harlow cadence, production, and rhyme. Just even focusing on those 3 areas, you'll notice an improvement. Is every new song that you're putting out there a little bit better? Are you a better singer? Are you a better producer? Is the songwriting getting better? Whatever it is, I think every new song you release needs to be a level up from the previous one. Let's take a look at number 3 now. Jack is noticeably a bit different than his fellow rap stars. He's an open book and has been known to say some pretty funny, borderline cringy things on the internet. The cool thing there is there's a big market for authenticity and people who are genuine, because there is a lot of fake stuff out there. And when someone is fake, when someone's not being real or themselves, it's hard to connect with that person. And because Jack is so famous and seems to be like a regular dude, it's quite easy to connect with him after the first time or the first video you see of him. It's also been mentioned on the internet that he's extending his skill set into acting and potentially starring in a remake of the 90s film White Man Can't Jump. So from being a nobody to one of the world's biggest rappers in a period of 2 years is quite a feat. But you can see that there's much more than meets the eye. There's a trend here. We have work ethic, we have quality, and we have a market. And when you work these 3 things together in conjunction, it's a recipe for success. I think that this story has already happened hundreds of times before, of people making their own luck and putting the hard work in. So if you think that you're really far away from making it or getting to that point where you are going to break, you might be a lot closer than you think.